the teams in Africa to make it to the tournament. Tomorrow we may well see Cape Verde qualify for the first time in their history. That would be an astonishing achievement for a small island nation. Comoros is a nation with a population of barely 900,000. That's significantly more than Cape Verde, who are primed to top their group ahead of Cameroon and qualify for the finals. Salisu sending it forward. Jiku. And Jete. And the visitors proving a match for their more illustrious opponents here in Accra at the moment, having already beaten them, remember, by a goal to nil nearly 2 years ago. Not just that victory, which Comoros remember well, as they come forward here. The offside flag does eventually come up against Rafiki Said. Said putting the ball in the net, but the Ghana players had stopped because Said was ruled was ahead of the last defender when the ball was played. We'll see it better from this angle. It's a tight call. Goal not standing. Rafiki Said of Standard Liège in Belgium. As Comoros beating Ghana in this World Cup qualifying campaign, they also famously defeated the Black Stars at the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon in early 2022. A stunning 3-2 victory with a late goal by Ahmed Monyi in Garoua. As Comoros went through to the last 16 of that tournament. This might be an awkward one for the goalkeeper. Bounce might have caught him out, but in the end he was just fine. Nice turn. Alidou Seydou to clip it forwards. The ball will run through to the goalkeeper again. Possession once more for Comoros. Zaidou Youssouf turning into trouble. And they've not really managed to get Antoine Semenyo into the game yet, Ghana. Kudus, strong play from Mohamed Kudus. Jordan Ayew trying to return it into his path with the back heel flick. Seydou recovering possession well. Kwasi Sibo. Thomas Partey alongside him. Sibo again. Seydou. Jete. No, it's not necessarily what you expect from Ghana in this qualifying tournament, given the number of goals that they've scored coming into the final round of games across the continent. Ghana with the joint top scorers in African qualifying with 22 goals in 9 games, level with Côte d'Ivoire and Algeria. And look at the quality they have up front tonight. 3 forward players, all based in England, to the 2 Premier League stars, Semenyo and Kudus, plus Jordan Ayew. These days in the second tier championship with Leicester City. They've not created a chance of note in nearly half an hour here tonight. Salisu forward. That will be a slightly awkward one for Twabibu, the defender. Yusuf returning it to his goalkeeper. Ismail Boura, not really anywhere for him to go. Giving the ball away to Seydou. It's not particularly fluid from Ghana in the early stages here. The substitutes watching on, including Gideon Mensah, the number 14. When the initial team sheet was released, he was on it, as was Kaleb Yerenki, as was Abdul Fatawu. It looked like it was going to be the same starting lineup as the other day against the Central African Republic. In the end, 3 changes with the 2 wing-backs brought in, Seydou and Annan, as well as the extra centre-back in Adjete. Jordan Ayew wins the free kick. Challenge on him by Zaidou Yusuf. Right in front of the referee as well. Partey's pass to Ayew. Lovely step over from Ayew to take that ball with him in his stride. Yusuf caught out, giving away the foul. This is an opportunity for Ghana in a good position to maybe finally trouble Adel Anzimati, Comoros goalkeeper. 2 men in the wall for the visitors. Third one joining them now, Zaidou Yusuf, who gave away the free kick. To Ayew and Kudus. Standing over this ball. Kudus clips it forward towards Semenyo. Kudus again. It's a better ball in. Picked up by Seydou. Adjete. Cross blocked. And the ball left for the long throw. Again, we've seen both teams adopt this tactic in the first half. It is going to be Alidou Seydou to launch it into the middle. Can Ghana get the breakthrough goal here? Helped on by Salisu. Kudus to Partey. Adjete. Seydou will keep it in. Tries the first time ball into the middle. Semenyo again, shot from the angle. Comes off the defender to go behind for Ghana's first corner. Stefano Cousine watches on. Comoros coach. The noise levels rising around the stadium. Ghana closing in on a place at the World Cup. The draw tonight is enough, but they want the opening goal here. Semenyo on the players waiting in the middle. Jordan Ayew to deliver this. From a Marseille forward. Top scorer in this group. in qualified with 7. Can he make the goal from the corner? Ayew's delivery, headed out at the near post by Rafiki Said. Seydou is unable to keep that in play. Ghana were a bit sluggish at the beginning of their campaign. Their first match was a 1-0 win against Madagascar up in Kumasi. And Iñaki Williams got the goal in the 96th minute at the end of the game. Then they had that 1-0 defeat away to Comoros in Moroni a few days later. But in 7 matches since then, they've had 6 wins and a draw. A draw coming against Chad just last month. And they were pegged back late on. It was a shock result, but otherwise they've been imperious. And a lovely turn by Kwasi Sibo, which the home fans enjoyed. Jiku. Alexander Jiku just telling Ebenezer Annan to get back into his position on the left. Sibo. And Jete. There's that long diagonal again, which we've seen Ghana try a few times in this first half. Jordan Ayew up against several green shirts. He looks to go all the way. And across the face of goal, it was behind Kudus. Comoros survive. Sibo. Here's Partey. They're playing for Villarreal in Spain, formerly of Arsenal. Ayew. And Jordan Ayew coming into this game in the last few minutes, seeing more and more of the ball. Seydou. Bura. It will be a goal kick, says the assistant referee on the near side. Well, must have come off Seydou last night. Seydou doesn't agree with that decision. You know, Comoros have a problem. The goalkeeper, Adel Anzimati, has gone down in his goal mouth. Now, see better from this angle. Perhaps not, but certainly the assistant referee taking the view that it came back off Alidou Seydou. Defender who played at the World Cup in 2022. Ghana went out in the group stage. They have a proud record of making it to the World Cup, at least in the last couple of decades. They got to their first World Cup in 2006. And they've been at 4 of the last 5. Only missing out in Russia in 2018. Of course, they had that marvellous run to the quarter-finals in 2010 when they were beaten by Uruguay in South Africa. Since then, they went out in 2014 in Brazil without winning a game, and went out in the group stage in Qatar in 2022. Despite beating South Korea, that came in between defeats against Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal and against the Uruguayans. So really they've been incredibly consistent at making it to the World Cup in recent times. They're on course to make it to a 5th World Cup out of 6. Country which has also won the Africa Cup of Nations on 4 separate occasions, albeit the last title was in 1982, but still only Egypt with 7 and Cameroon with 5 have won the AFCON more often. More than 40 years since they won the trophy, but they have been to a couple of finals in recent years, 2010 and 2015. Underway again. Swali, Comoros goalkeeper, seems to be just fine. Heading towards the break here. Kwasi Sibo. Picked up by Mohamed Kudus of Tottenham Hotspur. just tending to drop deep and pop up in that inside right pocket. Jordan Ayew to the left of Antoine Semenyo. Tremendous quality in the Ghanaian attack, but Comoros have kept them quiet in the first half tonight. Here's the captain, Mshangama, launching the long ball forward. An awkward one for GQ, does really well. And Salisu completes the clearance. Now Thomas Partey. 5 minutes of the first half remaining here in Accra this Sunday night. It's pretty warm. And it remains 0-0 to Ghana and Comoros. At the same time, Mali leads Madagascar by 2-0 in Bamako. And that means that Madagascar's dream of topping the group is a remote one coming into tonight's game. It needs to be very much over. Mali in control. Goals by Lassina Sinayoko and Nene Dorgelès for the home team there. Mali have had a disappointing campaign by their standards. If it remains that way there, and it remains like this here, well, Mali will finish in third place in the group, behind Madagascar. And Madagascar will be pinning their hopes to the playoffs, if they can make it to the playoffs. Saidou Yusuf playing it forward for Rafiki Said. Yusuf continuing his run outside Said. Yusuf on the ball. Cross clipped towards the back post and collected by Benjamin Asare. He's the one player in either team this evening who plays his club football at home here in Ghana with Hearts of Oak, famous old club. And he was taken over as a first choice goalkeeper in the second half of this World Cup qualifying campaign. Kudus. Drop of the shoulder from Kudus to get away from Ismail Boura. Opens up some space. Trying to find Ebenezer Annan on the far side. It will be a corner. And that's what Mohamed Kudus can do, the former Ajax and West Ham United player. A big money move to Spurs a few months ago ahead of this Premier League season. Ghanaian fans in the stands here in Accra. Packed house tonight. They want a goal to celebrate. It's going to be Jordan Ayew to send the corner into the box. Hanging delivery, looking for Adjete. Jonas Adjete jumping, Ghana wanting another corner. Not clear whether it came off Adjete or Ahmed Swali from that replay, but Ghana will have another corner kick here. Semenyo standing in front of the goalkeeper. It will be Kudus to take this from the Ghana right. Just look at the fans watching on here in Accra. The phone's held up to capture the moment. Kudus delivers it. His first touch from Mohamed Kudus. Tries the shot, which is blocked, so maybe Comoros can break here in the final minute of the first 45. This is Faiz Selimani just trying to hold on to possession, waiting for a teammate to join and support him. As it stands, Ghana qualifying, Madagascar finishing second, but looking like they probably will not get into the best second place teams to make it into the playoffs. Selemani on the ball again. Zaidu Yusuf. We're going to have 2 minutes of added time at the end of the half here in Accra. Are we going to see a goal before the break? This is Zaidu Yusuf. Stefano Cruzin, the Comoros coach, previously in charge of South Sudan. He is tremendously well travelled. Yusuf on the ball again. Has gone behind for a throw on the far side, which Ebenezer Annan will take. Moved to Saint-Etienne at the beginning of this season, a famous French club who these days are playing in the second division. Adjete for Alidou Seydou. There's not any real sense of urgency about Ghana tonight, which is completely understandable. We don't know if word has filtered through to them of the scoreline in the other game. I'd imagine Otto Addo will be trying to avoid telling his players that Madagascar are losing, because the Ghanaians would possibly then take their eyes off the ball completely. Jordan Ayew trying to drive towards the box, looking to add to his 7 goals in this qualifying campaign. This is Thomas Partey. Salisu. Adjete continuing towards the penalty box and then letting fly with a somewhat wild effort, the 21-year-old defender. And that may well be the last act of the first half here. The referee from Gabon brings proceedings to a halt. And at the break in Accra, it is Ghana 0, Comoros 0. Not been particularly inspiring from the Ghanaians tonight, but they knew that a draw in this game would be enough for them to clinch top spot. Madagascar, the only team who could catch them but have to win to do so, are losing by 2-0 in Mali at the same time. So Ghana are getting the job done as it stands. 0-0 at the break here between the Black Stars and Comoros. Welcome back to Accra, where it's goalless at the break between Ghana and Comoros. Ghana looking to wrap up qualification for the World Cup tonight. They're on course to do that, and the second half will be underway shortly. You can see the Ghanaian players making their way back out through the tunnel here. Well, superb crowds inside the stadium tonight, packed house of about 40,000 here. And the main thing for Ghana is to secure that place at the World Cup. They want to do it with a victory if they can, even if they only need a point to be sure. And even then, events elsewhere tonight suggest that a defeat will not change anything, because at the moment, if Ghana are to miss out on finishing top in the group, they need to lose this game. They also need Madagascar to win. Madagascar losing 2-0 away to Mali. Lassina Sinayoko of Auxerre in France and Nene Dorgeles of Fenerbahce have got the goals for Mali, and that means that Madagascar, as it stands, are not going to get the result they need to turn things around. It's not just a case of needing to win for Madagascar and hope that Ghana lose. Also, Ghana have the much better goal difference. Ghana's plus 16. Madagascar's was plus 8 at the beginning of the day. It's gone down to plus 6 now. And it does look like Madagascar have far too much to do. It was always a long shot for them. And it's an even more remote possibility now. Comoros, meanwhile, on course to slip down to 4th place in the group. They've shown up very well throughout the campaign, and they've shown up very well in the first half tonight. Really competitive section, of course. Madagascar performing brilliantly. Mali, we've felt they are an emerging nation for some time. They've underperformed to some extent. Ghana doing really well. And Ghana are going to set the ball rolling in the second half here. Well, what will Otto Addo have said to his players at the interval? Comoros are making a change. Benjaloud Yusuf, the right back, is coming off, and Said Bakari is the player entering the fray for the visitors. Now, underway in the second half here in Accra. Ghana 0, Comoros 0 at the halfway stage in this game. Ghana only need a point to wrap up top spot without having to depend on results elsewhere tonight, and they're on course to get that against the Comoros team who beat them in the reverse fixture nearly 2 years ago now. Comoros for such a long time are one of the minnows, of course, of African international football, but they've come on such a long way in their development. They've shown up very well in this campaign, but their prospects of sneaking into second place were definitively ended in a defeat to Madagascar a few days ago. One change, by the way, made by the visitors at the break we saw there. Benjaloud Yusuf being replaced, a straight swap at right back. Said Bakari of Sparta Rotterdam in the Netherlands coming on for him. Foul on Jordan Ayew, given away by Kassim Dauma. Alidou Seydou, awkward ball into the middle. Ahmed Swali got the touch to that as the goalkeeper dived. It's come out towards Kudus. Here's Annan. Might just fall for a Ghanaian player at the back post, and Partey's ball in has been turned into the net by Mohamed Kudus. Ghana get the breakthrough within 2 minutes of the second half beginning. And that releases any remaining pressure for them, surely, in this World Cup qualifying campaign. Just the point required tonight to be sure of sealing their place in North America next year. And they take the lead here thanks to Mohamed Kudus. The flares being lit, fireworks going off around Accra. They're in party mode. It wasn't a brilliant first half performance from the Black Stars. They laboured to cause any real problems for the Comoros defence, but the away team struggling to clear their lines initially. The ball returned into the penalty box, an awkward bounce, and Thomas Partey setting up Kudus to score. Kudus just stealing in front of Ahmed Swalehi. Ghana leads by 1-0. The second goal in this qualifying campaign for Mohamed Kudus. Other one came in a pivotal victory, 3-0 in an away game against Madagascar, played in Morocco in March. That ultimately a result which has made a massive difference in this group for the Ghanaians. Kudus of Tottenham Hotspur with the goal. That English Premier League quality in the Black Stars team have been revived under Otto Addo since his return to the job. Addo appointed in March of last year after Ghana's poor start to the campaign and also their poor performance at the AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire, let's not forget. Ghana see themselves as one of the powerhouses of African international football, but they went out in the group stage in the Côte d'Ivoire last year with just 2 points. They failed to qualify for the upcoming Cup of Nations in Morocco after not managing a single win in the group with Angola, Sudan and Niger, but they've put that right with their performances in World Cup qualifying as Thomas Partey gives away the free kick for the challenge on Zaidou Youssouf. Zaidou Youssouf, who is one of 8 players in the Comoros starting lineup tonight, born in France. Comoros leaning very heavily on the diaspora in France. There is a large Comorian population there, particularly in Marseille. A number of the Comoros players born in that city on France's Mediterranean coast. Antoine Semenyo taking the ball for a run, heading towards the byline. It's good play from Semenyo. And he's got his team the corner. A sensational start to the season for Bournemouth. He's been a consistent performer in the Premier League for Bournemouth in the last couple of years, Semenyo. And he may well be one to watch at the World Cup next June and July. Ghana with their 4th corner of the game. It's a feverish atmosphere inside the stadium now. Watched all the way by Adel Anzimati, the goalkeeper, who's won the free kick. Mohamed Salisu, one of the players who was forwards, and this is a problem for Adel Anzimati of Ararat Yerevan in Armenia. Maybe a bit of a surprise that Stefano Cousin didn't give the gloves to one of the other goalkeepers who were initially called up to the squad. Salim Benbouana, red carded in the game against Madagascar a few days ago, but 2 other goalkeepers available to the Comoros coach, Yannick Pondor, in particular been overlooked. Here's Stefano Cousin. Condor, maybe surprisingly, because he's 24, he's been around for a while, he belongs to Lens in the French top flight. Another option being Naïm Saïd Chindra, who belongs to Toulouse, in the French top flight club, very much in their reserve team. But the two of them overlooked tonight as Adel Anzimati was brought into the side. Here's Stefano Cousin. Played football in France, in Switzerland, in Italy, in Central America as well. He's worked in a number of countries, in England and Iran as well, and in the Republic of Congo too, before taking charge of the South Sudan national team for a couple of seasons and then arriving in Comoros. Anzimati seems to be okay. Mexican wave spreading around the stadium here. Ghanaian fans eager to enjoy their evening, and they're doing just that. This football crazy nation. Here's Jordan Ayew. Well, let's see if Comoros can respond to this. They will not want to finish this campaign with back-to-back defeats. Here they come down the left-hand side. Picked up by Salisu. And a free kick won by the visitors. And Ghana on course to join some other African footballing heavyweights in clinching a place at the World Cup. Ball in towards the near post, which is stopped by Asare. Here's the goal scorer, Kudus. Seydou outside him. A really remarkable atmosphere in this stadium here. Fans waving the flashlights on their phones. Ayew wins it back. Selemani strapping to recover possession for Comoros. Great learning experience for some of these Comoros players, I think, playing in this kind of atmosphere. They will not be at the World Cup, but they are building towards the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, for which they've qualified, and they'll play the host nation in the tournament's opening game in Rabat on December the 21st. They'll be faced with a similar kind of atmosphere to this one, I think it's fair to say, on that occasion. Long ball forward looking for Ayew, cut out by Ndauma. Buran to Yusuf, works it back away to his goalkeeper. Shangama, the run of Rafiki Said with the reverse ball, cut out by Alexander Djiku. Kudus. And now with Ebenezer Annan. One of the players brought into the Ghana team tonight, following that very comfortable 5-0 win against the Central African Republic a few days ago. Kudus holding off Shangama. Getting back up to his feet. He's in confident mood tonight. Partey out to the right for Alidou Seydou. This is Kwasi Sibo. It's going to be a 5th World Cup out of 6 in which Ghana have been present. They'll be there in Washington, D.C. for the draw for the tournament, which will take place on the 5th of December. It's going to be the first 48-team World Cup, remember. Kudus swings it in. And it will be collected by Adel Anzimati, the goalkeeper. Ajite to Alidou Seydou. No question that the next AFCON will be poor without the presence of Ghana, but it will be fascinating to see how Comoros get on. His second appearance at the continental showpiece. We're into the last 16 in Cameroon 3 years ago for Comoros. A 2-1 defeat against the host nation, Cameroon. At that stage, it was an extraordinary game in which Shakir Aladour, an outfield player, usually a fullback, had to play in goal because none of the available goalkeepers were able to play. And they didn't disgrace themselves by any means that night. Here's Thomas Partey feeding the ball through for the captain Ayew. Jordan Ayew again. He's won the free kick. And once more it's Zaidou Youssouf who's given it away. Lucky to escape a booking at this rate, Youssouf. Clear foul by the former Bordeaux and Saint-Etienne player. Now playing his club football in Saudi Arabia with Al Fateh. Plenty of smiles in the stands here in Accra tonight. Ghana on their way to the World Cup, not just edging towards World Cup qualification, cruising towards World Cup qualification tonight. Leading 1-0. Kudus with the delivery, really tantalising ball in from him. Ghana set to be the 5th nation on the African continent to confirm direct qualification for next year's World Cup. From the 9 groups, the other 4 groups all set for mouth-watering finales in the next couple of days. Tomorrow, look out for Cape Verde, the little archipelago in the Atlantic Ocean. Very close indeed to qualifying for the World Cup for the first time from Group D. They're at home to the bottom team in that group, Eswatini. If they win that game, then they will qualify for the World Cup. And any slip-up, Cameroon, a nation we've become used to seeing at the World Cup down the years, well, they could pounce and leapfrog the Blue Sharks, but it looks unlikely. Kwasi Sibo up to the right for Seydou. Jordan Ayew has put in a power of running tonight. The veteran forward with the captain's armband on. Back to Alidou Seydou again. More than 2/3 of the way through this game. Seydou go all the way back to Alexander Djikou. And now Salisu. Partey. Now Kudus trying the fancy control and not quite managing to pull it off. The home fans not too worried about that. Brilliant talent, Mohamed Kudus, big money signing by Tottenham Hotspur from their London rivals West Ham in the English summer. Seydou into the tackle. Yusuf. Now Shangama. Partey picks it up for Ghana. Kudus being urged to drive towards the Comoros box. He gives it to Jordan Ayew. Jordan Ayew for the Black Stars. Two Comoros defenders in close proximity. Not easy for Ayew to do anything there. Well over 100 caps now for Jordan Ayew. Only his elder brother Andre has one more for the Ghanaian national team, and he is set to lead his country to the World Cup. It'll be his third World Cup. He was there in 2014 in Brazil, and was there at the last tournament in Qatar. So Ghana leading 1-0 here tonight, and Madagascar, who had to win to stand any chance of pipping Ghana to top spot, now find themselves 3-0 down away in Mali at the same time. Mali have just scored their third goal on the night in Bamako, so it's going to be a defeat for Madagascar. Madagascar who'd kept alive their hopes of finishing top of the group with a 2-1 win against Comoros in Abidjan just the other day. But it is not going to happen for them tonight. Ghana, regardless of the outcome of this game here, I think it's fair to say would have been topping the section, because Madagascar are heading for a defeat, and a comfortable one at that. Just to mention some of the other World Cup qualifying groups we're going to see decided in the next couple of days. The battle between Senegal and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the top spot in Group B. Can the Congolese make it to the World Cup at Senegal's expense? And fascinating finale in store in Group C as well. Benin in position to hold off South Africa and Nigeria and win that group. That would be absolutely remarkable. South Africa being undone by fielding an ineligible player in their recent match against Lesotho, which meant that what had been a victory on the pitch was overturned and awarded as a win to Lesotho instead. And the other group to be decided, Côte d'Ivoire, a point clear of Gabon, with a game to play. The fixtures to come tomorrow and on Tuesday. Yusuf from Shangama picks up the ball for Comoros. This is Selimani. He wins the free kick in the centre circle. And we're going to have a substitution with the break in play. The change for Comoros, Yassine Bourhan of Aris Limassol in Cyprus, brought into the starting lineup this evening, making way. And it's Iyad Mohamed, who had started the last game, dropped out at kick-off tonight. Here's the player coming on here, Iyad Mohamed, into the midfield, plays for Casa Pia in the Portuguese top flight. Nearly midway through the second half. Ghana 1, Comoros 0. Ghana, the 14th ranked nation in Africa, according to the most up-to-date FIFA rankings, but set to be the 5th African nation to clinch direct qualification for next year's World Cup. Interception by Jiku. This is Partey. Salisu, coolly done under a bit of pressure. Across it comes to Anjete. Ghana have been relatively in control tonight. Might have been somewhat different if Comoros had something tangible at stake. Flag up against Antoine Semenyo, who hits the bar anyway with his attempted lob. He knew that he was in an offside position. Antoine Semenyo, real asset to this Ghanaian team, the London-born forwards. Well, the lineup for the next World Cup is very much beginning to take shape. We've seen a host of nations secure qualification from Asia, including Uzbekistan and Jordan. We have a host of South American qualifiers confirmed already as well, Argentina and Brazil among them. New Zealand qualifying too. Ayew looking to hold that ball up for Partey inside the 6-yard box, but it's collected by Adel Anzimati. Yusuf under pressure, back to his goalkeeper. Comoros coming up short, but significant improvement for them on performances in previous World Cup qualifying campaigns. The qualifying tournament for the last World Cup in Qatar, they went out in the first round of that in a 2-legged tie against Togo. That was played in September 2019. So they were eliminated more than 3 years before that World Cup took place. Halidou Seydou, Kudus, burst the pace from Kudus, trying to cut it back for a teammate. Semenyo was waiting inside the 6-yard box. It will be a Ghanaian corner. And we are going to see multiple Ghanaian substitutions shortly. Eto'o can afford to just make a few alterations. Freshen things up a little bit for the final 19 minutes plus stoppage time. Kudus then to take the corner. All the way beyond everybody. And free kick given, in fact, against Alexander Jiku will be Comoros' free kick. The goalkeeper is down inside the goal mouth. Substitutions being prepared by Ghana, but not made as yet. Kwasi Sibo. Salisu touched on by Ayew. This is Ebenezer Annan. Bura. Comes off Adjete. And the referee is going to allow the substitutions to be made now before the throw-in is taken. So Jordan Ayew is coming off, or is he? Well, maybe the change is not yet ready to be made. The referee has changed his mind about that. Bakary Selemani for Comoros. Saïd Bakary continuing his run. Thomas Partey getting into a bit of trouble inside his own area. Shangama. Rafiki Said. A good bit of play from Comoros, decent passage of possession, but the ball ends up in the arms of Benjamin Asare. Hearts of Oak goalkeeper who's had very little to do tonight. Of course, for another clean sheet, as was the case against the Central African Republic just a few days ago. Joseph Paintsill, the number 13, and Elisha Owusu. They need to come on here. First of all, it is Kwasi Sibo's number which has come up. Alidou Seydou and Mohamed Kudus coming off as well. So Caleb Yerenki, Joseph Paintsill and Kojo Pepra Opong are the three players coming on there. Yerenki, young player with Nordsjælland in Denmark. Paintsill, based in Major League Soccer. And Kojo Pepra Opong, centre-back with Nice in France, who's just recently moved to Ligue 1 and has got his first call-up to the Black Star squad for this gathering. Opportunity for him to show what he can do. Three substitutes will have a quarter of an hour plus stoppage time to make an impression. Ball in from the right. Here's Yerenki. Playing alongside Partey in the heart of that midfield. Yerenki. Mohamed Salisu looking for the ball forward for the substitute Paintsill. Opong. Attempted cross blocked by Ismail Bura. Kojo Pepa Opong filling in that position as a right wing back as the replacement for Alidou Seydou. Opong to take the throw. He's 21 years old, was playing in Sweden for Norrköping before the move to Nice. To drive in the cross, it's stopped by Kenan Twabibou. Can Comoros create something in the closing stages here? They've really found it difficult to cause serious problems to the Ghanaian backline this evening. Interesting that we've not seen Miziane Maolida coming on, the top scorer for Comoros in this campaign with 4 goals. The shot is attempted from a long way out. It's a wayward effort. Faiz Selemani, number 7, plays his club football in Qatar. And Qatar making, Comoros should say, making changes, and Selemani is one of the players coming off here. So Rayon Lutin coming on for Selemani. The skipper Youssouf Mshangama making way as Miziane Maolida enters the fray. The player who has had an outstanding World Cup qualifying campaign, Miziane Maolida. He got the winning goal in Moroni in the reverse meeting of these clubs in November 2023. Jurenki has given away the free kick for the challenge on Lutin and has got a yellow card as well.
Yellow card to Ghana's
and this is why he lost his footing and impeded Lutin and handled the ball at the same time. That's why the referee has given him the yellow card. Caleb Jurenki, just 19 years old. Playing for Nordsjælland in Denmark, the club who've brought through so many exciting young Ghanaian talents via the Right to Dream Academy. Interception by Twabibou. An opportunity to hit the shot here. It's neither really a cross nor a shot. In the end, headed away by Annan. Lutin, one of the 2 substitutes just brought on for Comoros. Straight out of play from Said Bakari. Sparta Rotterdam defender. Now has the armband on after Shangama went off, but Benjamin Asare, nothing really to do. He's usurped Lawrence Atizigi as the first choice in goal for Ghana as this World Cup qualifying campaign has gone on. First couple of matches, it was actually Richard Ofori who was playing in goal. Ghana have chopped and changed, as they have done, of course, on the bench. Chris Hughton was previously the manager, but left after that disappointing AFCON campaign in Côte d'Ivoire. But from AFCON disappointment to World Cup delight for the Black Stars. They come forward again here. Semenyo trying to pick out Paintsil on the far side. Semenyo working hard to win the ball back again. Left-hand ball forward. Maolida. Good defending from Jiku. Now Urenki. Victory incoming here for Ghana. Madagascar losing 3-0 in Mali. And at the same time in Group A this evening, Egypt, who have already qualified, leading Guinea-Bissau by 0-0. Mohamed Hamdi scoring that one. Burkina Faso set to finish in second place, leading Ethiopia by 1-0 as well. Semenyo brings it down, but the offside flag is up against the Bournemouth player. And Ghana made big impressions in their first 2 World Cup appearances, reaching the last 16 in Germany in 2006, of course, when they were beaten by Brazil in Dortmund, and then reaching the last 8 in 2010 with that dramatic defeat at the hands of Uruguay. Also there in 2014 and in 2022. Neither of those occasions did they make it beyond the group stage, but they have developed a habit of qualifying for the World Cup. And that is what we're going to do tonight. 4-time African champions set to make it to their 5th World Cup. And all of those World Cup appearances have come this century. Partey trying to feed it through towards Jordan Ayew. Initially, Ayew's number 9 was brought up by the 4th official pitch side. I wonder if that was a misunderstanding or whether it was a late change of mind by the coaching staff to keep Jordan Ayew on the field, to allow him as the captain, as the veteran in this team, to celebrate the moment when Ghana clinched qualification. So comfortably a top scorer, of course, in this campaign with 7 goals, followed by Thomas Partey on 3. Time for more Ghanaian changes here. Jordan Ayew is now coming off. And Antoine Semenyo making way as well. So some fresh legs on in attack. That's what we're going to see for the final few moments. Ayew has done his job for the night. Semenyo as well. They both put in a power of running. Ayew, who scored in the win against the Central African Republic the other day, not adding to his goal tally tonight. Semenyo not able to get a goal either. It's Brandon Thomas Asante of Coventry City who's gone on, and Christopher Bonsu Ba, Saudi Arabian-based member of the Ghana squad, entering the fray, as well as Comoros make another change themselves. Rafiki Said is the player who has gone off for the visitors, and it's the veteran El Fardou Ben Nabouane who comes on for the final few minutes for Comoros. Curry. Ball into the middle, and the shot blazed over the crossbar from Miziane Maolida. Match winner in the last meeting of the teams, the former Lyon and Nice forward. Cleverly left that. Ball in by Said Bakari, and Maolida unable to hit the target. atmosphere has calmed down a bit compared to the minutes which followed the goal from Ahmed Kudus early in the second half, but the celebrations will begin very shortly. We have already seen 4 North African nations clinch qualification for the World Cup. Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt and Algeria will all be there, and Ghana are about to join them. Madagascar on course to finish second, but as it stands, it looks like they'll not be one of the 4 best runners-up. Remember that when it comes to working out who has the best records among the runners-up, the results against the bottom team in each group will be discounted. And in the case of Madagascar, well, of course that means that their 2 victories against Chad will not be taken into account, which means that as it stands they'll have 13 points. And it looks like that will not be enough for them to be one of the 4 best runners-up. The runners-up that make it through to the playoffs, that playoff competition will take place in a month's time. Comoros will not finish first or second. They will be turning their attentions to the upcoming AFCON in Morocco, which is only just over 2 months away. Cross in from the left, watched all the way by Asari, who tries to punch it. Paintsill. We're going to have 4 minutes of stoppage time. The 90 minutes have come and gone. Here's Paintsill again. Well, can they cap things off by getting a second goal here tonight? Much less fraught way for Ghana to clinch World Cup qualification than how they did it in 2022 when they beat Nigeria, their great rivals, on away goals. 0-0 draw in Kumasi in March 2022, and then a 1-1 draw with Nigeria in Abuja a few days later. Thomas Partey on the ball here with the captain's armband on since Jordan Ayew went off. He got the all-important goal in that playoff tie, which allowed Ghana to qualify. It is that bit, I wouldn't say easier, but rather more straightforward these days in Africa to qualify. Not just the 5 places available, but 9 direct spots, and Ghana will be taking one of them. Here's Paintsill. He's looked lively since he came on, Paintsill. Ball not running out of play and given away by Comoros. Bonsuba. Salisu, Monaco player, hasn't been playing regularly for Monaco this season. Kaleb Yerenki. Well, they're just running the clock down now. And maybe one chance for Comoros to come to snatch an equaliser on the night. Lutan trying to break his way through. Still alive, but the visitors here. Played into the middle. And turned behind for a corner kick for Comoros, just their second of the game. Last chance on the night. Bakari's ball in. Stopped by Adjete. Final 30 seconds of stoppage time here. Benjamin Asari's had a very quiet evening in the Ghana goal. In comes the corner. Partially cleared, and the shot from range is over the bar. And that should be that. The air horns sounding here around the ground. Great anticipation. The final whistle has gone. The referee has not let the play go on any longer. Ghana have done it. They have beaten Comoros. They have done it. And World Cup qualification has been secured here tonight. It's been a richly successful qualifying campaign. Fifth for greatness. Ghana heading to the 5th World Cup in their history. The 5th World Cup in 6 editions as well. Mohamed Kudus with the only goal of the game on the night just after half-time here in Accra. They only needed a draw, and even then it didn't really matter because Madagascar, the only team who could have caught them, had to win, and they are losing comfortably away to Mali tonight. And Ghana, who lost away to Comoros in November 2023 at a point when it looked like this might not be a successful World Cup qualifying campaign for them, have turned it around spectacularly and are comfortable winners of Group I. 8 wins and a draw in 10 games, 23 goals scored in that time. And they are heading to their 5th World Cup. They're the 5th African nation to confirm qualification for the World Cup after the North African quartet of Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt and Algeria. Look out for Ghana at the World Cup in North America next year. Look out for the Black Stars in the draw, which will take place in early December. They'll be there. Comoros, meanwhile, it's not been quite as historic a World Cup qualifying campaign as they were hoping it might be, but they performed very well. 5 wins in their 10 games for the Indian Ocean island nation, and onwards and upwards for them to the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco at the end of the year. It finishes here in Accra tonight. Otto Addo's Ghana 1, Comoros 0, and the Black Stars are heading to the World Cup.